Great to be back in Helsinki. So I arrived from London yesterday from 22 degrees, and then I walked around in your beautiful city at -2 last night and froze my teeth and realized winter is on its way. So, but great to be back. In the short time I have this afternoon, I'd just like to present Hitachi's vision in working in the cities. We've been working in the cities for many years, and the area I wanted to concentrate on today, where I think could resonate and add value, is around the video space. You know, we look at the cameras, we look at the video images that we have out there currently, and today I want to hopefully demonstrate the value we can get from those video points and make our cities more efficient and optimize them. Okay, so as we've been hearing in the last day and a half, but first of all, it was a great agenda and great to see so many different topics. But you know, some of the themes I've been listening to, those in English, that is, of course, is the growth of our cities. I don't know if you're aware, but right now in the whole world we have 50% of the population living in cities. But the scary point is that 70 to 75% of those it will go up to 70-75% in the next 20 to 25 years. So, you know, managing that urban growth is very important. The safety of our citizens is paramount. As we heard the sad news in New York last night, for instance, you know, protecting our citizens and making public safety a key area is very important. And as we've been learning in the last day and a half, it's quite complex out there. There's a lot of data sources, there's a lot of intelligence out there, but there's a lot of silos of stuff and information. And what a lot of local governments, what a lot of councils, what a lot of cities are saying is that there must be simpler ways and more efficient ways to make our cities more inspirational and more efficient. So the area I want to really talk about is that we talk about IoT, but for us, you know, video is that IoT data. You know, whatever city you go in, there are many sources of that data. And what the cities are sort of saying to us is that there must be better ways to make that a little bit more efficient, get more value out of them. Show me some insights where I can actually manage that urban growth. Show me some insights where I can actually protect my citizens, for instance. And if you can save money and give me a smarter city, then that's something that will be of benefit. So if we look at the sort of main areas, and I'm just giving you a snapshot today in the limited time that I have, and you've heard some of this over the last day and a half, for instance, getting some intelligence around the operations is really important. The security, as we all know, it's paramount. You know, understanding the security feeds, working with the local security forces, working with the city officials becomes important, and privacy. The privacy, I don't know if you've heard, but as part of this role, we've been looking a lot around the data governance side of things and regulations around GDPR. You may have heard of. These are all linking into the IoT world, and I see some nodding there. Thank you. So you know, these are all real important points that cities are looking for right now. So if I just take a couple of quick examples, in London, and whether it's Helsinki or Oslo or New York, the transportation and cars in general are a nightmare. So here, for instance, just a very simple example, we have just a local government employee looking at where people are double parking, for instance. I'm not sure if this happens in Helsinki too much, but in London, there is a big amount of double parking that's going on right now. And what we're trying to do is trying to give some analysis to that and actually say, you know what, you know, cars are taking up a big percentages, or buses, or trucks as well. In fact, we actually have a huge problem with lorries right now in London City, for example. So getting that traffic mix, getting some intelligence around that, you know, is important to a lot of the cities around the world. So what we try and do is sort of, okay, is try and classify some of this information. So if we just look at a couple of quick examples, you know, here we actually have I've got to go back to that one again. Yeah, so here we actually, what this city wanted to see was what types of vehicles were coming into the city. You know, whether it was buses or lorries or bikes. For instance, in Amsterdam, we know there's a lot of bicycles, for instance. So understanding the different type of traffic coming into the city was very important. Parking. Parking can be a complete nightmare in some of the cities around the world. So actually trying to solve some of those challenges and trying to look at those data sources and understand where the patterns are emerging from and what time of day, for instance. You know, these are areas that where we've helped to make our cities a little bit more efficient and a little bit more smarter as well. Moving away from parking, you know, we're trying to get more people onto trains, for instance. I was in Moscow a few weeks back, and wow, that metro system is pretty busy. And so actually understanding the passenger flows, understanding what type of people coming in, and just getting some analysis around that makes that, you know, Russian Railways, for instance, a more optimized operator. So if we can, again, the point here is if we can provide some value to this video data, provide some intelligence to this video data, then this can help our cities become more efficient now and for the future as well. We heard this morning about Helsinki Airport, how it's a small city. So absolutely right. The gentleman that was talking this morning, understanding that flow, how that flow works, and making it more efficient is very, very important. We also have a nice module that links in with social feeds. So I was in Copenhagen Airport 2-3 weeks ago, and what they found very interesting was the ability to analyze the social feeds and you know, hashtag queuing, for instance, and hashtag security. And so we could collate a lot of that information with the video feeds and give some of these data insights back to the airport. But if you said where's the real area, public safety, unfortunately in the sad world that we live in right now, is one of the key areas where video is playing a real part. It's a big area where, you know, looking at people, looking at objects right now, for instance, understanding where people are coming from, setting up some zones is very, very critical in all the cities around the world, unfortunately, as we heard. We're not going to eliminate all the issues, but at least with some analysis of some of our data, we can start to be that little bit more efficient. So unfortunately in London, for instance, we are on high alert right now. Any object closes down a railway station or an airport or and brings in our security forces. So, you know, keeping people safe, especially with the urban growth, is, you know, having some intelligence around that is very, very important. And I hate to use the New York example, but I think this was an example of yesterday where I think really where, you know, the New York forces must have all got together and actually got some video footage of this sick individual, you know, driving down the cycleway, and then they compared a lot of the video footage around New York, for instance, you know, one of the most heavily populated police enforced areas, one of the cities with the most cameras in the world right now, and using these kind of technologies that allow them to get a very clear picture of where this guy came from. I believe he came from Florida, emigrated from Uzbekistan in 2001, for instance. So the ability to link all of this information up very, very quickly and hopefully, you know, counteract any future attacks would be obviously of great interest to all the cities and towns around the world. So very, very important. So the way we do this, we just to sort of finish off, we have a single pane. We visualize a lot of this information. We take a lot of the data sources. We take a lot of the feeds, for instance, and collate this and do all the hard work for our cities, where we can then give this snapshot, this single pane of glass, out to the cities. But for me, it's not about the technology, and I think you would agree, it's about the insights. with this growth, it's about the insights and presenting this data and giving value back to the cities and saying, you know what, these are the areas that you should look at. These are the areas that you can be more efficient. These are the areas that you can be optimized. But very sadly, these are the areas that maybe you can make a little bit more safer, for instance. We've been, whether you're in cold Helsinki or rainy London or sunny Sydney, we've been doing this for many years. So, there's all sorts of different scenarios to make a city more smart. So there's just some proof points here. We did some stuff in Copenhagen, for instance. But, public, if you said what was the real area, what was the area that adds real value right now, it is around the public safety space and getting intelligence around that space. And, Hitachi is a true innovation partner. So, we're not just in technology, we actually are in different verticals and different spaces. So we do understand what cities are going from. We do understand the business. And, we really are innovating and hopefully making cities more smarter, more efficient, and more safer. Thank you for your time, and thank you very much for inviting me, and thank you for listening.